house, every Arizona homeowner's best friend.
You guys have put a lot of infrastructure in place, and there's some things that didn't kind of turn out the way you wanted them to turn out, and you've had to adjust. And that's just part of the urban farm process. There's things that are going to happen. You're not going to be successful. You're going to have to transition. How have you all dealt with that?
Well, we kind of try an idea and see how it works, because maybe it worked for somebody and they did a great job. And then after a little while, we either realize, well, this is too much maintenance, or this is too hard for us as just a small family doing this. Or maybe it was something where it was like, it was a great idea, but then it got in the way of other productive things. So one of the things we had tried was to incorporate our fruit trees within our garden beds, which we've seen other farmers do, and we loved the idea. It was very permaculture. It was very, we had guilds, and we had that idea about, you plant this and it provides shade, and then you plant other things around it and it benefits the tree, and then it benefits the tomato, and the herbs benefit the, and on and on. And then what it actually turned out to be was we slowly lost our garden space because the trees were taking over with their roots.
Even though we kept them very small and manageable, they were too big for that. And so we had to look at, well, what are we really trying to accomplish? Okay, how can we stay within the permaculture principles and realm as much as possible, and yet still accomplish the goal of not only raising food for the family, but taking food to other people, to whether it's to the market or to customers direct or whatever. So we did a really scary thing, and we hired a crew because it was too big a job for us. We hired a crew who came and dug out. Now, mind you, we spoke about this in the last segment, but I'll say it again. These were the trees that we got from your tree lot, Greg. So good trees in the first place, we believed. Anyways, they were now a couple, 3 years old. We hired a crew who literally dug those trees out, dug us new holes. I followed Urban Farms, what I consider to be our fertilization schedule, etc., to get prep the holes, prep the trees. The trees got dug out, put into their new homes. They're right next to the garden. So they're really close. They're not in the garden anymore, but they're right next to it. And so we're getting as much benefit, both the garden for the trees and vice versa. But we put those in, and I don't even have to knock on wood anymore. Those trees, we didn't lose a tree. All of those are still there, and everything flowered this year for the first time. Not all of them had flowered previously, and they're growing like crazy. So that's just one of the things that we had to do where, like you're saying, we tried something and it didn't quite work the way we thought. We went through several watering, irrigation plans, and it's like, okay, well, that's not really working the way we thought. We went through several shade structure things. So it's a matter of adapting. You go through, you try something. Sometimes it was, so Erin is an engineer, as is her husband, and I'm not. I'm a biologist. My head doesn't work that way. But sometimes you come up with ideas, and you just have to realize, oh, that's not working. We're going to do it a different way.
Rosie on the house, every Arizona homeowner's best friend.